Hi, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. Formula One betting show for you here. Bahrain, the first stop on the Formula One circuit this season. They got through the 3 days of testing, and everybody seemed to think Red Bull was so far ahead of kind of like the last couple years. They just by far and away the best team out there. Some interesting qualifying. It's hard to get an exact grip on how everything was worked out, as you don't know what fuel load, what they were actually running. Tire compounds had a lot to do with that as well, as they had all 5 tire compounds out. And they did test at Bahrain. There's only 3 days of testing. It's a shame they don't televise this here, maybe on ESPN or something, for us Formula One enthusiasts. But general consensus was it's a Red Bull show. The car seemed to go a little bit better when they had Verstappen driving the car versus Sergio. But with the big news coming in Formula One that Lewis Hamilton switching teams to Ferrari next year. We'll see what's going to happen with a lot of this stuff going on this season. Is Mercedes going to push George Russell? Is he going to be their primary number one driver coming into next year's contract? With Lewis gone, is this the last year for Sergio with Red Bull if he doesn't perform at an all-time high? Things of that nature. So we're basically here. I'm not going to, we're here for the betting side of things on this one here. Love watching the race. And I am not the tech person on some of these cars. I know Red Bull had the fastest car last season and it wasn't close. So what do? They come out with a new design that seems to be even faster than what they had last season. So more danger for the rest of the teams. The other 9 teams in Formula One, as Red Bull looks to be dominant once again. In this race last year, obviously Verstappen won this race last season. If you got a chance to pay attention. So Sergio Perez dominated a lot of practice one. In practice, he was top 3 in all 3 practices. Practice 1, 2, and 3, and had the fastest time in practice 1. Verstappen did come back and then won qualifying was last. So how do we attack this, knowing that Red Bull's going to be a huge favorite, which they are for Bahrain in this particular one here? So couple ways that you can attack it. First of all, I would start off, I think Verstappen to win isn't going to get any cheaper than it is now. So if you're willing to lay the minus 350, 360, it's a smart bet. It's one of those bets he won, 80+% of the races last year. This gives him, basically he's ranked at less than 80% on this particular one here. So Verstappen to win is not a bad play at this time. But if you want to bet Verstappen, what's the best way to attack him? Probably the best way to attack him and actually get plus money is for free practice 1. He should be one of the top 3 cars for FP1. No question about that. So to get him at plus 125, you're taking a lot more of a chance here because you don't know if Red Bulls are going to send him out on long runs for FP1 or if they're actually going to do a hot lap where there's a low fuel load and kind of see what time they can burn around the track to see where they're going to be at for qualifying. But even if he's a little heavier fuel load, you have a really good shot at actually winning, still winning FP1 with Verstappen, as he's been so dominant for the last couple seasons. Another way to kind of attack Verstappen, winning margin over 10 seconds. It's just not for Verstappen, it's for anybody. But the winning margin, there's options for winning margin of 0 to basically 5 seconds, 5 to 10, and over 10. He did win this event by over 11 seconds last season on that particular matchup. So that's another good way, and that was plus 185 on FanDuel for the time of victory. So if you like Verstappen, you want to bet him, but you don't want to lay the 350, 360, depending on what book you're looking at. There are a couple ways to play him. So to win free practice 1, haven't seen anything for FP2 or FP3. That'll probably be coming after FP1 is finished. Winner by over 10 seconds. If you expect Verstappen to win and dominate, this is an excellent way for you to be able to bet Verstappen on that. Now, there are some I think some pretty good value plays. And so far, what we've seen so far out of the rankings here, if you're looking at just winners, things of that nature. So your top drivers so far are Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Hamilton, Sainz, Norris, Russell, Piastri. That's where the plus money. So Piastri there. Then you've got Alonso, Stroll, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Gasly, Ocon, Bottas, Zhu, and Alexander Albon, Nico Hulkenberg, Magnussen, and Sargent. So if you're looking for a little bit of value here, I think the one last year, Oscar Piastri, rookie season, had a fantastic rookie season. McLaren came on the back half of last season after the upgrades. And Piastri looked extremely competent for a rookie. He did not finish this race last season. It was his first race out. He got a DNF on there. So Piastri, we found at around that plus 250 ballpark for top 6 is an excellent way for a plus money bet. Get some value here. Yeah, I wouldn't bet Piastri to win. I think there's really only one guy that's going to win this, and that's Verstappen. It could be somebody else, if mechanical failure or something to that effect, but you're taking huge gambles on those. Those are definitely long shots. As you know, he's at minus 360 currently, and the next guy's at plus 1,000 to win the race on there. But we do like Piastri. We are going to play him as well for top 6. Like I said, it was hard to turn down that plus 250 money on DraftKings on that. So also, last 2 seasons, there have been what they call classified drivers. That's 17 drivers to finish the race. So under 17 and a half classified drivers is plus 135 on DraftKings. Pretty good value there, especially since the last 2 seasons, 17 drivers have finished in both races. Mechanical failure has been a big reason for its first race of the season. They just did do testing there, but you're still getting the car with it, maybe upgrades or changes to finish the race. And obviously, lap 1 is the most exciting lap in motorsports when it comes to a Formula 1 race. And normally turn 1. A lot can be determined in that one there. You typically can lose drivers. And Formula 1's a little bit different than some other sports. Normally when they get knocked off the track, most times, if there's any damage whatsoever, they're not going to finish the race. So you could get a wide turn 1 with 3 guys that go out immediately, and that bet could almost cash instantaneously when it comes to that. So we're going to go with under 17.5 classic drivers. Charles Leclerc, we expect to race extremely well here for Ferrari. Ferrari looked pretty competitive when it came to the practice runs. So Charles Leclerc, or Sean Leclerc, depending on which announcer you're listening to, podium finish at minus 105 on DraftKings was the way we went there. And we also like Piastri to beat George Russell in free practice 1. That was another plus 260 number. We do like Piastri in this race. I think he's getting downplayed quite a bit because he didn't finish last season's race. I think that does hurt him. Kind of, boosted his odds up a little bit. And there wasn't a ton of talk about McLaren. There was some talk about Ferrari. Obviously, day 2 of testing, I think Carlos Sainz with Ferrari had the best time. But you don't, like I said, you don't know exactly. And pretty much the rule of thumb is Red Bull was still faster, just maybe not for a hot lap. Which those guys are doing there. So we will have some more bets after free practice 1, and we'll probably do qualifying bets after that. So I will let you guys know if this is your first time checking out our show with Formula 1 or any of the sports that we bet on. At the end of every episode that we do, there will be a link in our comments section to our Google Sheet. This is a ledger of all of our bets, what juice we got those bets at, how many units, and then what book we place them at. So Formula 1 will be in with golf, Formula 1, and UFC and more. So make sure you do check that out. If you're into any other sports like basketball, football, baseball, those also have their own little tabs you can check out. But this will be our ledger of bets for all season long, so you can follow along on how we do. But so far what we've got here in the Bahrain Grand Prix, we did take Verstappen already. It was minus 350. I will fall out of my chair if he doesn't win this event. Wouldn't be the first time I ever fell out of my chair, but he's been absolutely impressive. And it seems like the Red Bull RB20 or Red Bull 20 car is going to be even better this season. We also took Verstappen to win free practice 1. This was plus 125 on FanDuel, so an opportunity to make a little coin on top of your money. Winning margin, we did take over 10 seconds. This is for any driver to win by more than 10, plus 185. Basically, if you think Verstappen's going to dominate, the only thing that can cause you to lose this bet is a late safety car, which we think the safety cars will come early here. So we're not too concerned about the safety car late, but over 10 seconds. We like Oscar Piastri, which we mentioned for McLaren. Top 6 finish was plus 250 on DraftKings. Under 17.5 classified drivers, which means 17 or less drivers to finish the race, plus 135 on DraftKings. Charles Leclerc for a podium finish, almost even money on DraftKings, minus 105. And then Piastri to beat George Russell in free practice 1. I expect Mercedes to struggle here. I don't know how you can expect Mercedes to be dominant anywhere. They couldn't compete with McLaren for most of the season, especially on the back half. And McLaren absolutely was dog doo-doo in the first half of the season until they got to Silverstone when those upgrades came in. So maybe that hurts them, maybe that gives Mercedes they beat them all these races last season. But once Silverstone hit, it was McLaren and it was Red Bull. And that was basically the only two teams you really even looked at for, what you were looking at for podium. Maybe you considered Ferrari for a little bit, and maybe Mercedes would sneak in and get one, but it wasn't that way in the back half of the season. So Piastri to beat George Russell in free practice 1 also was paying plus 260 on DraftKings. So kind of a little bit to get you started there with the Bahrain. Obviously, we're here in Phoenix, Arizona, so the free practice 1 starts at 4:30 in the morning tomorrow. On that one, this is definitely a great way to start off the races. An excellent racetrack. Should be a very exciting time there in Bahrain. Like I said, we will update these with more bets on this. So feel free to check out those Google Sheets. You'll see the link to at the end of the show, and check those out. As we will have updated bets after free practice 1 occurs too. As we'll probably have somebody for qualifying there as well, once we get a little bit better idea after free practice 1. So we mentioned the Google Sheets, like I said before, and as always, if you could subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, so when we drop our bets, you get those first. Makes life really simple. Once you subscribe and turn those notifications on for YouTube, you'll get a notification to your phone or device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped some new bets. Match them up with your bets and give you a ton of confidence heading to that betting app or betting window, so we can all make some money. I do appreciate everybody's support as always, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode.